When it comes to the most important races in the US, you have Western States and then you have Hardrock. Sure, races like Leadville and Badwater have been around longer, and there are far more competitive races out there, like Black Canyon, or races that garner more media attention like the Barkley. But Hardrock stands above them, at least in my opinion, with its extreme level of difficulty coupled with the exclusivity of the race, meaning that a great performance here, like Kyle Skaggs in 2008, is likely to go down in ultra running folklore. Now, that level of difficulty is made up of over 30,000 feet of climbing and the same again descending, all while taking place at altitude in the stunning yet brutally technical San Juan Mountains. And the exclusivity comes from an incredibly small field size, combined with a lottery system that doesn't prioritise elite competition or have any workarounds such as the Western States Golden Ticket system. All participants are at the mercy of the lottery. So again, unlike Western States where fans are struggling to pick top 10s from 20 plus elites in the race, check out my last video for a pretty poor effort at that. At Hardrock, you're looking at picking a winner and podium from 5 or 6 possible contenders. So let's take a look at who's toeing the line this year, who's in play for the win, and in one particular case, who may add to the legacy of this race with a performance that could go down in ultra running history. As always, let me know your picks in the comments below or any Hardrock related stories. Let's jump into it. If I could sum up the US contingent of the men's field in just one word, it would be experience. You've got the 51-year-old 2018 winner of the race, Jeff Browning, who also finished on the podium back in 2016 and finished in the top 5 on 3 other occasions, including 2021 and 2022. And then you have 37-year-old Dylan Bowman, who finished second back in 2021 with the fastest time ever by an American, and only behind Kilian Jornet and Francois Dehaene on the all-time list. That's pretty good company to be in. Both these guys are nearing legend status within the sport and are probably worthy of their own videos running over their illustrious careers, a series for the future maybe. But right now, despite being the older of the two, Jeff has been in the better form. That's mainly due to Dylan's inactivity over the last couple of years, focusing his energy on his business and becoming the soundtrack to our long runs with his awesome podcast, Free Trail, as well as recently becoming a parent. On the contrary, Jeff raced 9 times last year, according to Ultra Sign Up, including 3 100-milers and a course record performance at the Moab 240. And then this year he's already raced 4 times, including a 100-miler in January and the Cocodona 125 in May, winning both. Will this insane schedule catch up with him and mean he's going into one of the toughest races around on tired legs? Or will this tried and tested method of regular racing take him back to the top step at Hardrock once again? Jeff's best time was set some time ago back in 2016 of 25 hours and 42 minutes, whereas Dylan's time in 2021 was nearly 3 hours quicker at 22 hours 45 minutes. And as much as Dylan himself has been playing down his chances on his podcast, I think there may be a bit of sandbagging going on there, as an athlete of his calibre, even slightly off his best, is still capable of winning this thing. The other American to keep your eyes on in the men's field is not quite as experienced as these two, but Arlen Glick is a self-appointed 100-mile specialist, just not normally on such mountainous courses. He's been incredibly successful at the flatter, more runnable races with a win at the Javelin 100 and a 3rd place at the 2022 Western States. The one race with a slightly more comparable course, Run Rabbit Run, which features 20,000 feet of gain and the same again descending, he did manage a 2nd place though, so maybe he'll prove here that he's just as good in the mountains. Arlen is attempting the Western States Hardrock double, and by his high standards, Western States did not go to plan. Maybe that was due to having one eye on this race just 3 weeks later, but 14th place for a man who finished 3rd the previous year was not his best day out. If he did struggle out there, and if anyone knows the reasons why, please let me know in the comments. I haven't had a chance to listen to every post-race interview yet, but if he's still carrying any sort of fatigue or slight injury, it is going to be a very long, tough day out for the happiest man in ultra running.
Are these sheep? I don't think they're goats.
The other contenders come from France, with Aurélien Dunand-Pallez and Dunand-Pallez toeing the line in the US for the first time. Aurélien is no stranger to high mountains, technical terrain and endless elevation gain. As a 2nd place finisher at UTMB in 2021, he is, in my opinion, the favourite for this one. He also has a win at Trans-Gran Canaria and podiums at a host of incredibly tough European mountain races. He might not have the experience on this course that Jeff and Dylan do, but he's 20 years younger than Jeff and is currently more race sharp than Dylan. Dunand-Pallez is the man who chased Zach Miller into Chamonix last year with a 6th place finish at UTMB, just seconds behind the American. At 41, as you'd imagine, he has plenty of experience at technical high mountain racing and a ton of impressive results, but most notably his win last year at the Grand Raid Diagonale de Fou. There's a couple other names to keep an eye out for, like local runner Avery Collins and Spain's Javier Dominguez, but for me when it comes to making my fantasy free trail picks, I'm currently leaning Aurélien, then Dylan, then Bernat for my podium. The one person who I believe could really challenge Aurélien for the win though is Courtney Dauwalter. Now at this point that doesn't even seem like a hot take, as half of ultra running Twitter is tipping her for the outright win, but for good reason. Her recent dismantling of the Western States course record was mind-blowing. To beat a 10-year-old course record that no one has ever got even close to by over 70 minutes and finishing 6th overall, beating the likes of UTMB second place finisher Mathieu Blanchard and 218 marathoner Cole Watson was honestly unbelievable, and probably the single greatest performance in the history of the sport. Pop a comment below with any performance that you think beats that. Now, coming off that win and looking to become the first person ever to win both Western States and Hardrock in the same year, she may just be content to do the minimum required to win the women's race, or she may be struggling to recover from such a monumental effort, so I'm in no way guaranteeing that she'll be the top lady. But if she is to replicate the form she showed at Western States, on a course that arguably plays to her strengths even more, we could be in for a truly historic day. Courtney already holds the course record here, with that time being 20 minutes off Jeff Browning's 2018 winning time. She's in better recent form than Dylan Bowman, and now has a faster Western States finishing time than him, and is better suited to mountain running than Arlen Glick, whose Western States third place finishing time she also bested. Then at UTMB back in 2021, she finished just 32 minutes behind Aurélien, so she's definitely got the credentials to mix it up at the front of this race. Conditions this year also favour Courtney, with plenty of snow and sections where the melted snow has made the course muddy and waterlogged, being the sort of conditions that Courtney loves. Plus, the tougher the better, as no one in our sport seems to be able to dig deeper and deeper into her patented pain cave. Also, the longer the race goes and the more hours on feet will play into her hands, with her most famous outright win being at the Moab 240. Now, as I mentioned, if she's struggling at all with her Western States recovery, then it's by no means a one-horse race on the women's side. And let's not forget that the last race she lost was here in 2021 when she DNF'd due to stomach issues. Hoping to spoil that party, we've got Annie Hughes. Not to make this all about Courtney, but a few months back, Single Track podcast host Finn Melanson tweeted, "Who is the next Courtney Dauwalter?" And my response was Annie Hughes. At just 25 years of age, Annie has already won Leadville, High Lonesome, Run Rabbit Run, and both Moab 240 and Cocodona 250, not to mention a host of more regional 100-mile races as well. Not many have a resume that strong at such a young age, and she looks likely to be one of the standout women in ultra running for the next decade and more. Now, she's not quite as versatile as some of the top women in the sport, and definitely has a preference for the more mountainous high-altitude races, and with wins at Moab and Cocodona, she clearly thrives when races go longer, which means Hardrock is right in her wheelhouse, and with the tough conditions this year, the extra hours on feet are also playing into her strengths. It feels like France are sending a full team of shredders to this one, as along with the French men that I mentioned, we also have two French women who'll be pushing Courtney and Annie all the way, Annelise Rousset-Segret and Claire Banois. The two have wildly different skill sets though, with Annelise being a shorter ultra specialist with a win at CCC, 2 second place finishes at the Transvolcania 73k, and a host of good results at 50 milers and 50k races across Europe. Notably though, when she has ventured into 100 milers, she finished second at the Grand Raid d'Argano de Fou, a great result, but she was beaten in that one by over 4 hours by none other than Courtney Dauwalter. By contrast, Claire Banois is a long ultra specialist, with her best performances coming in 200-mile plus races, including 5 different wins at European 200s, a 51-hour winning performance at the Backyard Ultra World Championships, a 4th place at the prestigious Tour de Gênes, along with a win earlier this year at the incredibly tough Spine race here in the UK. So much like Annie and Courtney, tough conditions and more time on feet will probably favour Claire, although saying that, I think she'll be shooting for a podium at best. I don't think she's quite at the level of the other 3 women, and although Annelise's sweet spot for racing seems to be in the sort of 7 to 10 hour range, in this one, if she's still there towards the end, she does have the speed of a short ultra specialist that could prove the difference if she's hunting down Annie or Courtney. Another lady to keep your eyes on that I don't know loads about but has some impressive results over in Asia is Japan's Kamino Miyazaki. In terms of picking a podium though, I can't see past Courtney for the win, and I'm going Annie next with Annelise to round out the top 3. So there we go, that's my breakdown of the contenders at this great race, along with my podium picks. Please let me know your picks in the comments below, and worth mentioning that Arrow Viper will be putting on live streaming of the race this year, so enjoy following along and seeing how this all plays out. Thank you so much for watching, please like and subscribe, I'll be back soon with more ultra running content. Cheers.